The aroma of fresh coffee and warm pastries filled the air at Maple Street Diner, a cozy family restaurant nestled in the heart of downtown. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and the lunch rush was winding down when Marcus Thompson, one of the city's most successful tech entrepreneurs, walked through the front door with his 8-year-old son, Daniel. Marcus had built his fortune from the ground up, transforming a small software company into a billion-dollar empire. But today, he wasn't thinking about board meetings or stock prices. He was focused entirely on his son, who had been born with a rare condition that left him completely blind. Since his wife Sarah had passed away 2 years ago, Marcus had become both mother and father to Daniel, learning to navigate the world through his son's unique perspective. "Dad, can we sit by the window?" Daniel asked, his small hand gripping his father's arm as they entered the restaurant. "Of course, buddy," Marcus replied, guiding his son toward a booth near the large front window. "The sun feels nice and warm here." As they settled into their seats, Marcus noticed how Daniel's face lit up at the familiar sounds of the diner, the gentle clatter of dishes, the soft murmur of conversations, and the distant sizzle from the kitchen. These were the moments that reminded Marcus why he'd chosen this particular restaurant for their weekly father-son lunch dates. It wasn't fancy or exclusive like the high-end establishments he usually frequented for business meetings. It was real, authentic, and somehow perfect for Daniel. Before we continue with this incredible story, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let me know what country or city you're from. I love connecting with viewers from all around the world. And if you're enjoying this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this amazing tale of kindness and life-changing moments. A young woman with kind eyes and a warm smile approached their table. Her name tag read Emma, and she couldn't have been more than 25 years old. Her uniform was neat but well worn, and there was something about her gentle demeanor that immediately put both Marcus and Daniel at ease. "Good afternoon. Welcome to Maple Street Diner," Emma said, her voice carrying a genuine warmth that was becoming rare in the service industry. "What can I get started for you today?" Marcus had become expert at reading people's reactions to his son's blindness. Some servers became awkward and uncomfortable, speaking only to him while completely ignoring Daniel. Others would speak to Daniel in an overly loud voice, as if blindness somehow affected his hearing. But Emma was different. She crouched down slightly to be at Daniel's eye level, even though she knew he couldn't see her. "Hi there, handsome," she said directly to Daniel. "I'm Emma, and I'll be taking care of you both today. What sounds good to you?" Daniel's face broke into a wide grin. "Can I have the grilled cheese sandwich? And maybe some of those curly fries? Dad says they're the best in the city." "Your dad has excellent taste," Emma replied with a chuckle. "And what about you, sir?" Marcus ordered a simple club sandwich and coffee, but he was more interested in watching the interaction between Emma and his son. There was something special about how naturally she communicated with Daniel, treating him exactly like any other child while being subtly aware of his needs. When Emma returned with their drinks, she placed Daniel's chocolate milk directly in front of him and gently guided his small hand to the glass. "There you go, sweetie. Nice and cold, just how you like it." Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. How had she known that Daniel preferred his drinks cold? And why did she seem to understand exactly how to help him without making him feel different or incapable? As their meal arrived, Marcus prepared to assist Daniel with cutting his sandwich, something he'd been doing for years. But before he could reach across the table, Emma appeared beside their booth. "Daniel, would you like me to help you with that sandwich?" she asked softly. "I can cut it into smaller pieces that might be easier to handle." Daniel nodded enthusiastically, and Emma carefully cut his grilled cheese into manageable triangles. But what happened next took Marcus completely by surprise. When Daniel struggled to locate his fries with his fork, Emma didn't just watch or offer verbal guidance. She pulled up a chair beside the booth and sat down next to Daniel. "Hey, buddy, mind if I sit with you for a minute?" she asked. "I'm on my break, and you seem like pretty good company." For the next 15 minutes, Emma sat with Daniel, occasionally helping guide his hand to his food, engaging him in conversation about his favorite books and music, and making him laugh with silly jokes. She didn't feed him like a baby or take over completely. Instead, she provided just enough assistance to make his meal enjoyable while preserving his independence and dignity. Marcus watched from across the table, his throat tightening with emotion. He'd seen hundreds of people interact with his son over the years, but he'd never witnessed such natural, unforced kindness. Emma wasn't helping Daniel because she felt sorry for him or because she was being paid to provide good service. She was helping him because she genuinely cared. "Emma," Daniel said between bites, "you're really nice. I wish all the restaurants had someone like you." Emma's eyes glistened slightly. "That's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me, Daniel. You've made my whole day better." As they finished their meal, Marcus excused himself to use the restroom, but he had an ulterior motive. He wanted to observe Emma's interaction with Daniel when she thought no one was watching. From his vantage point near the back of the restaurant, he could see their table clearly. What he witnessed next would change everything. Emma had brought Daniel a small cup of ice cream, on the house, she told him, and was patiently helping him enjoy it. When Daniel accidentally knocked over his water glass, soaking the table and his shirt, Marcus expected to see annoyance or frustration. Instead, Emma immediately reassured him. "Oh, don't worry about that. Happens to me all the time," she said cheerfully, quickly cleaning up the mess and finding Daniel a clean napkin to dab his shirt. "There we go, good as new." But it was what happened next that truly moved Marcus to tears. As Emma helped clean Daniel's shirt, the little boy looked up in her general direction and said, "Emma, I can't see you, but I can tell you're beautiful. You have a beautiful heart." Emma's composure finally broke. Tears streamed down her face as she gently hugged Daniel. "Thank you, sweetheart. You have a beautiful heart too." Marcus returned to the table, his mind racing. He'd built his fortune by recognizing exceptional talent and character, and he'd never encountered anyone quite like Emma. As they prepared to leave, he handed Emma a generous tip, far more than necessary, but she tried to refuse it. "Sir, this is too much," she protested. "I was just doing my job." "No," Marcus replied firmly. "You were doing much more than your job. You were showing my son the kind of kindness that's become rare in this world." Over the next few weeks, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Emma. He found himself researching her background, not in an intrusive way, but out of genuine curiosity about the person who had shown such exceptional care for his son. What he discovered made him even more determined to act. Emma Rodriguez was a single mother working 2 jobs to support her 4-year-old daughter while attending community college at night. She'd been working at the diner for 3 years, saving every penny she could to finish her nursing degree. Despite her financial struggles, she'd never missed a day of work and had received numerous commendations from customers for her exceptional service. Marcus also learned that Emma had been caring for her elderly grandmother, who had recently been diagnosed with dementia. The medical bills were overwhelming, and Emma had been forced to consider dropping out of school to work full-time. That's when Marcus made a decision that would change Emma's life forever. The following Tuesday, Marcus and Daniel returned to the diner for their regular lunch. Emma's face lit up when she saw them. "My 2 favorite customers," she exclaimed, giving Daniel a gentle high five. "How was your week?" After they finished their meal, Marcus asked Emma if she could join them for a few minutes. She looked around nervously, checking with her manager before sitting down. "Emma," Marcus began, "I want you to know that what you did for Daniel last week meant more to me than you could possibly imagine. As a father, there's nothing more important to me than seeing my son treated with kindness and respect." Emma smiled modestly. "He's a wonderful boy, Mr. Thompson." "It was my pleasure." Marcus reached into his briefcase and pulled out an envelope. "I'd like to offer you something. I've been looking for someone to help me with Daniel, not as a babysitter or caregiver, but as a friend and companion. Someone who understands him and can help him navigate the world with confidence." Emma's eyes widened as Marcus continued. "I'm offering you a position with my family. Full-time, with a salary that would allow you to finish your education and take care of your grandmother. All I ask is that you continue being the amazing person you already are." Tears began streaming down Emma's face. "Mr. Thompson, I don't know what to say." "But that's not all," Marcus continued, his voice growing emotional. "I'm also establishing a scholarship fund in your name, the Emma Rodriguez Scholarship for Compassionate Service. It will help other young people like you who are working to better themselves while caring for others." Emma was speechless, overwhelmed by the magnitude of Marcus's offer. But Daniel, who had been listening quietly, reached across the table and found Emma's hand. "Emma," he said, Dad told me he wants you to be part of our family. Would you like that? I would really, really like that. Through her tears, Emma managed to whisper, "Yes. Yes, I would love that more than anything." 6 months later, Emma had not only joined the Thompson family but had completed her nursing degree with honors. She'd been able to move her grandmother into a beautiful assisted living facility with the best medical care available. Her young daughter, Sophia, had become Daniel's best friend and unofficial little sister. But perhaps most importantly, Emma had helped Marcus realize something he'd forgotten in his grief over losing his wife, that family isn't just about blood relations. It's about the people who choose to love and care for each other, who show up when it matters most, and who see the beauty in others even when they can't see it themselves. Marcus often reflected on that day in the diner, amazed at how one small act of kindness had created ripples that changed multiple lives. Emma's compassion had not only touched his son's heart but had reminded him of the kind of man he wanted to be. Not just a successful businessman, but a person who recognized and rewarded genuine goodness in the world. The Emma Rodriguez Scholarship had already helped dozens of young people pursue their dreams while caring for family members. The diner where it all began had become a symbol of hope in their community, with Emma often returning to volunteer and share her story with other struggling students. As for Daniel, he'd found not just a caring friend in Emma, but a role model who taught him that blindness didn't define his limitations, kindness and determination did. Under Emma's guidance, he'd learned to navigate the world with increasing confidence and had even begun learning to play the piano, something he'd always been afraid to try. This incredible story reminds us that kindness is never wasted, and that the smallest acts of compassion can create the most extraordinary changes in our lives. Emma's simple decision to help a young boy enjoy his lunch had transformed not just her own future, but the lives of everyone around her. What started as an ordinary Tuesday at a small diner had become a testament to the power of human connection and the importance of treating every person we meet with dignity and respect. Sometimes the most profound changes in our lives come not from grand gestures or dramatic moments, but from the quiet acts of kindness that happen when we simply choose to care. If this story touched your heart, please don't just watch and leave. Hit that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss another inspiring story like this one. Share this video with your friends and family, because in a world that can sometimes feel cold and disconnected, we all need reminders that goodness and generosity still exist. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful stories of hope and human connection. What act of kindness will you perform today? The world is waiting for your compassion to make a difference.